What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a quick live show, quick live update. Because there was some news yesterday, but I was out yesterday on Giuntoli, or actually on Allegri, and how he received the news that he's basically out for next summer. So the story is, and I actually want to go over if it's, excuse me, if it's real. I mean, if it's real, if it's fake, if it's not a real news story, basically, or if it's actually disrespectful, excuse me, because that's the title of the show. So, the story yesterday was that Allegri heard that he was not going to be the coach next season from Galliani. Galliani, who worked with him at Milan, obviously, is now at Monza. He works for Monza. And basically what happened, according to the reports, is that Giuntoli met with Monza to talk about Di Gregorio and Colpani and whatever, and maybe Miretti, who knows. And basically in that meeting, Giuntoli told Galliani that Allegri's out. Allegri's not going to be the coach next season. And Galliani told Allegri that, well, Giuntoli told me you are not going to be the coach next season. And that's basically the story. So apparently, Allegri found out that he is out from Juve the following season from an ex-friend or a friend in Galliani, because Giuntoli told Galliani. Now, let's first talk about the possibility that the story is 100% true. So let's go out from the assumption that Giuntoli did meet with Monza, and he actually did, by the way. That's been well documented. That's not fake news. And let's say he made it well known to Galliani that, Allegri's not going to be the coach here next season. And let's assume that Galliani actually met with Allegri or saw Allegri or whatever, called Allegri just by chance, whatever, and said, hey, Giuntoli kind of told me you're out that season. Is that disrespectful? Now, for all the things I've said about Allegri, and for the fact that I actually want some changes, and I want, a new coach, I want a new direction. If the story is confirmed, or if the story, let's say it's true, that he heard it from Galliani, I do agree it is disrespectful, because at the end of the day, if I know I kind of refuse to believe it, but if it's true, at the end of the day, if you are the sporting director, and actually he's everything at the club besides the financial guy, Giuntoli is basically everything at this club right now. If you're that guy, if you're in that position, you go to your coach now, basically, and you tell him, thanks, I came in and you were here, but whatever, thanks, but goodbye. At the end of the season, I made my decision, excuse me. I'm going to move on from you, and we're going to move on as a club. That's what you should be doing if you're Giuntoli. Now, if you didn't do that, I do agree it is kind of disrespectful. If he heard it from the sporting director of Monza, then yeah, it is strange, and it kind of is disrespectful. Just own it up. Just tell Allegri, who already knows by now. It's 1 month. It's May. It's a couple of weeks. It's 3 weeks of football still, and then it's over basically, or 4 weeks. I think Allegri gets the hints. There's no meeting. He has 1 year left on his deal. I think the hints are there. I don't think Allegri's stupid, so he probably already knows that. Yeah, I'm not gonna be here next season. But if you're Giuntoli, you tell him straight up. Because I think this is kind of a very easy comment you should be making, or like decision you should be making. There are gonna be more difficult things you're gonna need to do being Giuntoli. Telling Allegri, being Giuntoli, you're not gonna be here, is probably one of his easiest things he's gonna do in the next 2 years, basically, because he came into the club, he didn't sign Allegri, he doesn't have a connection with Allegri, he doesn't share a past with Allegri where he was here when Allegri won stuff. That's not the case. So for Giuntoli, Allegri is just somebody he inherited when he joined the club. No connection, no past, just colleagues, not even friends. If you go off reports, not the best friends as well, to be honest. So telling Allegri you're done after next season is probably the easiest thing Giuntoli is gonna do all summer, or the next 2 summers, because he's gonna need to do far more difficult things. He's gonna need to communicate far more weird stories or weird things to certain players or even the fans, by all means, than telling Allegri you're done. So if that's actually confirmed that that's how it went, then Allegri actually heard from Galliani that, hey, you're out, then yes, I agree, it is disrespectful. No matter what I think about Allegri, no matter that I'm sitting here basically every single day saying that I want to change, I want Allegri to be replaced, I want to move on, I want to change from the club, that's disrespectful. Now, the flip side is, I kind of refuse to believe that. I really refuse to believe that right now. Because at the end of the day, I don't even know how that topic goes. He meets with Galliani to talk about Di Gregorio, to talk about Copani and Miretti and whatever. I don't even know how that conversation starts. Is it like, oh, by the way, Allegri's gone? Because it has no impact on Monza. Like, it has no impact. It would make more sense if he heard that from the sporting director of Bologna, because you're trying to get Motta, you're trying to get Calafiori, all players also being linked with Motta's departure as well. Sirixi, for example. It would make more sense if the story was he heard it from Bologna's sporting director. It would make a lot of sense. But from the Monza sporting director, I'm actually confused. Like, I don't even know how that topic came up. Oh, we want Di Gregorio. We have an agreement with Di Gregorio and his agent. Now it's just between us. We need to figure it out, and strike a deal. Fine. And oh, by the way, Allegri's not going to be here. Like, it doesn't make sense. But the way things are going, it is strange. Like, it is really strange right now. It is. Because actually, by now, and I get why they're waiting a little bit for the Coppa Italia final, but actually by now, I think the quote-unquote confirmation should be almost official. Like, there's no doubt that you're going to move on. Like, it's 1 month. And somebody in the comments let me know. I think we play the Coppa Italia final on the 15th of May, and then we have 2 games after that. So it's like 4 weeks of football still, and then it's done, basically. By now, you should be telling Allegri you're done. Like, even if you did not pick up the signals, we haven't spoken to you about a new deal or whatever, and you have 1 year left, and we are in May. By now, you tell him, okay, it's done. You have 5 games to go now, 4 in the league, 1 in the Coppa Italia final, and then it's gone. Enjoy this, basically. Celebrate it with part of the fan base, I'm gonna say right now, and just move on. But the fact that the story is still out there that Allegri has not spoken to the club, or the club has not spoken to Allegri, and nobody from the club officially told Allegri you're done, is actually very strange. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. And maybe Giuntoli's pissed because of what the agent had to say a month and a half ago? Maybe he's actually pissed about it, and he said, F this, we're just gonna find out the hard way. Let's say the final day, let's say it's the 28th of May, 29th of May, it's Monday, official statement, you're gone. Maybe that's the route Giuntoli's gonna go on, which I kind of highly doubt. I don't think he wants to start his real tenure with the club in that way, because that's also very strange, to be honest. Let me see. It's disrespectful 100%. Allegri has history with the club and has won us trophies. Giuntoli hasn't done anything yet. I agree, but I refuse still that it's actually really true. I really refuse to believe that. 26th of May is the last game against Monza. Wow. A couple of more days and the pain is over. Giuntoli is raising some red flags to me. What we expect a lot from him, and so far I'm not convinced. Now, there's no time to convince us. Like, what time did he have? And I'm not defending Giuntoli right here, but there's nothing to defend and there's nothing to criticize, in my opinion, right now, because he came into the summer, we had no money. And he came in basically when everything was a mess. Nobody knew who was actually leading the club right now. And you brought in Timothy Weah, and that's about it. Now, in January, we still had €0. Like, we cannot even sign Rugani to an extension, a 1.5 million extension, because we're not certain of Champions League football. So he has absolutely no money to work with, and people expect him to improve the club in January, which was ridiculous. It was never gonna happen. It was never gonna happen unless you had the money. You had the money. It was just never gonna happen. So the Alcaraz thing was weird. It remains weird. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a free agent or it was nothing, basically. That was it. The Chiesa situation to be seen. What will happen? We don't know by now. We will know at the end of the season. So we also need to keep in mind that what Giuntoli received, or like when Giuntoli came in the club, what was out there is not his work. He needs to do a lot of cleanup, and that goes from back to front. You have Keane. You need to find a solution for him. We paid a lot of money for him. You need to find a solution for Milik because he's clearly not part of the plans. Excuse me. You have the Djaló, basically. You're going to lose Alexander on a free. That means you're going to need to sign a player. You need to spend money as well on top of not being, loaded with money, with cash right now. Rabiot, free agent, probably going to walk. You need to replace him with a signing as well. Like, there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. McKennie, asking for probably too much money, and maybe the club is being a bit disrespectful with lowballing him, but probably he's also asking for way too much. And I think Giuntoli is saying, no, this is it, and that's basically it. But he needs to clean up a lot of things. All these things we talked about for months, years, basically. He just came into the club and it's like, you fix this. But it's not going to be fixed in one season or in one summer, or in January. It's just not going to happen. No percent that he found out from someone else, let alone Monza. It's just clickbait move. I doubt it's true, to be honest. But kind of Mirko Di Natalia as well hinted towards that meeting. But I don't know about that. I won't sleep. I won't lose sleep over it. The writing has been on the wall for a while. There's no correct way to let him go. Actually, losing sleep, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But the correct way is just to tell him, and actually tell him weeks ago, but at least now, like at the first couple of days of May, this is it. You have Monza, you have Roma, Salernitana, Bologna, Monza, and Fiorentina, Atalanta, and the Coppa Italia final in between, sandwich in between, and that's it. Just I think that would be the better way. I think even for the players, for the fans, I think it would be more. It would make more sense to tell the world right now. I don't think it's going to impact the Coppa Italia. I think the players know already. I think everybody knows that it's done. It's just nobody wants to make it official. Just make it official and move it on. And people do hit the like button. Only 13 likes, which is kind of low. Giuntoli needs more time, at least one proper summer and winter mercato, and then we should start judging him. I said 2 summers for me. And last summer didn't count because, well, obvious reasons. I don't know how Allegri didn't sub until half when he got hit in the head with an elbow. 10 minutes. What are you talking about? Oh, Alcaraz. Was it Alcaraz? Yeah. Whatever Alcaraz is doing right now is not looking good. It's not. It looks all over the place when he plays. It looks very inconsistent. It looks very technical. It looks on a technical level. It looks poor as well, which is weird because that should have been one of his main attributes. It looks weird, and you can see a player who's very confused, who's completely out of place, and you can see it on the pitch. It's not good, Yeah, I don't think. I saw a report today that Bologna are in talks for Allegri, which is obviously not going to happen. Somebody's asking me about Djaló, or somebody in the chat is asking about Djaló, and actually I forgot he was on the team. I'm not going to lie. I forgot he was on the team. I saw a picture 3 days ago or something in training. I was like, who is he? I forgot that Djaló is still on the team. That's also a weird quote-unquote signing. I didn't know much about Djaló. We signed him on a free, but the fact that we haven't seen him play a single minute is crazy. It's basically as crazy as Djaló being out for a year, starting a game against Lazio, being subbed at halftime, and we've not seen him ever since. Basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. Like what happened with Diallo, what happened with Djaló ever since he started that game. He's lost as well. But the Diallo one is crazy. It's crazy. The fact that he is not even getting garbage time minutes, it's so strange. Somebody's asking about fitness. It cannot be fitness. Like fitness to what? Play 10 games? Like you cannot be that poor fitness wise. And I don't know if he's a good player, by the way. But to not get a single minute, you need to be horrendous. Even Nonge got minutes, by the way. Like you need to be absolutely straight up garbage to not get minutes under Allegri. Not even 5 minutes to close out a game or to waste time. That's crazy. Like that's absolutely crazy. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. Yeah, no, Milinkovic Savic at all. Somebody saying it's a war between Allegri and Giuntoli for Djaló. Like at the end of the day, you still need players. Like how, like nobody's winning here. Like the only guy who's winning here right now is Giuntoli because he's in control of the club and he's gonna sack you, or he's gonna tell you to go. So at the end of the day, he's winning still. The only loser right here is Djaló. Because he came in from an injury, hasn't played for I don't know, God know how long, and now he's sitting on the bench and doing nothing. Like I'm not even sure what that was all about, and maybe it is, Allegri saying I didn't want Djaló, and Giuntoli told him you're gonna get Djaló, and Allegri's like I'm not gonna play him, but surely you're not that petty. At the end of the day, that's not Diallo's problem, and garbage time minutes, nothing. Like he played Djaló out of nowhere, and he was rubbish as expected because he hadn't played for a year, and Djaló has been back earlier training wise, and he's not even getting minutes. I don't even know. Djaló and the club are both losers in the situation. Yeah, but especially Allegri. Especially Djaló, excuse me, and then Allegri, because Allegri is gone and Djaló is wasting his time. It's a bit like Nicolucci. When he stayed, and I'll keep saying it, I'm still not sure why he stayed. For his own sake, it's probably the dumbest move you can ever make. Okay, he played for a season for the club, which was potentially his dream, but at the end of the day, like for your career, that was a very poor decision because you haven't played, you haven't really improved right now. You kind of wasted a year of your career, in my opinion. But he made that decision. He didn't want to leave, and the club kept him because he's extremely cheap. But it was kind of pointless. But going back really quickly on the Giuntoli thing, because at the end of the day, if the reports are confirmed that Giuntoli actually told Galliani that Allegri is gone, and Galliani told Allegri, hey, I heard from Giuntoli when we were talking about this and this player, you're gone. We are going to hear stuff. Like the moment Allegri will get released, basically, stories will come out, leaks will come out. Not saying players will speak, but leaks will come out because he will start leaking things through his friends in the media. He will, like 100%. You will hear things about disagreements with Calvo, disagreements with Giuntoli, disagreement with players not being happy with him. All these leaks will start coming out. Probably the first week and a half. If the club tells him in June, 1st of June, you're gone, at least until the end of June, the first week of July, you will hear rumors about he didn't get along with this player. This player said this player didn't train well, and this Giuntoli wanted this and he wanted that. All these things, you will hear all these PR things come out. And it's up to us to filter what's real and what's not real, basically. It will come out 100%. I don't think it will come out from player sides, because probably the players he will have a problem with are still going to be at the club, so they're not going to do anything to put that in danger or to cause some trouble. But from Allegri's sides, you will hear Corriere dello Sport, Sassaroni, you will hear Fabio Caressa from Sky Italia. They will say certain things that will make you say, okay, that's not coming from these guys, that's coming from Allegri. When or Gaglione, for example, but that's extremely obvious that is coming from Allegri. But certain things Fabio Caressa says or Sassaroni says are so clear that they're coming from a certain camp that it's becoming an issue. Like what is it, year 3 now, almost at the end of year 3. Every single bad result, or every time certain part of the media tries to be a bit more, how do you want to say that, a bit more resolute with Allegri, these guys come out with weird stories. He needed Modric, he needed this, he needed that, and Giuntoli this and Giuntoli that. You will hear these things. It will come out. And actually, I'm very interested because things did happen. You don't have such an epic mental collapse, basically, because on a technical level, it's kind of the same, Technically, it wasn't good when we were winning. We were just getting away with stuff. If you have this type of fall off, if you have this type of drop off, you know, based on one game, you didn't beat Empoli, you lost to Inter, and then you went on 2 wins out of 13. Something happened in that locker room. I don't know what. I think nobody knows what, but something 100% did happen in that locker room. Otherwise, it makes no sense. You don't have this collapse out of absolutely out of nowhere. You don't have this type of collapse out of the blue. It's just not gonna happen. And people, hit the like button. Hit the like button now. I saw the Kamada links. I'm not even gonna comment that if I'm being 100% honest. I don't care if Allegri says the sky's falling down, needs to leave. Yeah, he's a guy, like, he 100% needs to leave. Like, it makes no sense. Because I don't think a single person, even if you're Allegri in, can now say that we don't need a change. We need a change, players-wise and also coaching-wise, because this is toxic. This is toxic. This is not sustainable. This is becoming a real issue right now. It is becoming a real issue. It really is, 100%. But people, the purpose of the live was talking about Giuntoli. If you have some certain questions, put them in the chat, because I'm going to go on for another 8 minutes or so, because it's already late. But I will be back live probably tomorrow and Sunday as well. We do need a project, Apex. Like, it needs to be clear. You cannot bring in Motta or whatever coach and then basically just hand him players that are not going to suit him. Or say, you know what, we want to go youngsters, and then you sign one youngster. That's also not... Like, you need to have a certain... The first thing the club needs to do is kind of decide how are you trying to win games, sustainable. You need to have a coach. If the coach tells you, and I don't care, by the way, as long as we end up winning in the long term, if the coach comes in and he's like, I want to play counter-attacking football, I need these type of players. I like player A, B, C, D. You can give me other options. Financially, we will discuss. Like, I think that's how it should be going. I think that way you can make it work, Obviously, the coach needs to be realistic. He doesn't need to come in and say, I need Mo Salah. Like, he needs to be realistic. But only that way, this is going to work, If you're actually going to listen to your coach. If Motta comes in and he says, I need Zirkzee, you need to trust, and the club can actually buy him Zirkzee. As a club, you don't need to really question, man, where are you going to play Zirkzee? That's not your job. That's the coach's job. Now, obviously, the coach does need to go overboard. He does need to go, I need Zirkzee, I need... name some of these prospects out there. I need Boniface, like, that's going over the top, But if he tells you, I need Zirkzee, I can pair him, with Vlahovic. I can play them between the lines. This is what I'm trying to do. By doing this, we can let go of player X, basically, and we can bring another player in that position. And even if we have injuries, I can switch it to this, and this. That's how it should be going. And then the club can say, we cannot give you Zirkzee. It's too much money. We don't have that budget. But these are the other options. Do you have other options? Or are you like, no, I can switch it up again. I can do this. Like, that's how the only way we're going to win stuff. Or actually we're going to build something. Because now, when we look at that team out there, how many players look out of position? Even if they're in position, it feels uncomfortable. It feels like they're playing out of position every single week. Even though certain players are actually playing in their position, quite a lot of them, it feels like it's out of place. That's basically all I'm saying. You think Giuntoli went in there and said you're all on the market, and maybe the players and the coach felt like they didn't deserve that after the first half of the season? Maybe. I don't think that's the case. I think something happened in the locker room, not really with Giuntoli, or like maybe the sub story is that Giuntoli and management didn't really intervene, but something happened between players and Allegri. Something happened, and we will probably never hear the full extent of that story. But something did happen. You cannot go from going potentially a point above Inter with a game in hand to you drop points against Empoli, you lose against Inter, you lose against Udinese, you cannot beat Verona, you scrape it against Frosinone, you cannot beat Genoa, you cannot beat Cagliari. Like, that cannot happen. Something happened in that locker room. Something 100%, because the players bought in what Allegri was asking them to do. You don't throw that away based on a draw against Empoli. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, something did happen. Name your priority signings by position. That's actually a good question. So I'm going off the assumption we're not gonna sell Bremer or Vlahovic or any of those players. Otherwise, my top five will change. But we need, in my opinion, we need a better backup striker, or like a different backup striker. We need two midfielders, one attacking midfielder, and for me, one DM. We need a center back, 100% certain about that. We need, oh my god. So that's 2, 3, 4. A right back or left back. Depends on where you're going to play Cambiasso. Depends on who you're available. But that back line and that midfield needs big help. I can live with Chiesa, I can live another year with Chiesa, Vlahovic, Yildiz, and even Milik. If that means you're going to fix that back line and you're going to fix that midfield. I have no problem with Milik staying for an extra year. If that means you can fix the rest. I have no issue with that. But we're not going to do that. So that's that. My priority signings are Calafiori, Colt Miners, Zirkzee, Thiago Santos. He's actually been linked with us, to be honest, and Di Gregorio. You see, goalkeeping, and I get why it should be a priority, but man, we have so many issues. I don't want to talk about goal. Like, I don't want to. I want to talk about goalkeepers. I'm not gonna lie. Also for Di Gregorio, he's gonna be benched for a season for Chesney. Like, how is that gonna do him well as well? Ali, why people think Giuntoli is that stupid to destroy the team? It makes no sense. Also, Maninelli, where is he? Missing since Empoli game in autumn. Yeah, that like, that was a funny story at the beginning of the season. He's gone. Hope he's well, but you don't even hear or see him anymore. I don't get the Di Gregorio move when we're on tight budget. Now, the Di Gregorio move is like, you're gonna move on Pirin. You get Di Gregorio. Chesney's out of contract next season, and you have Di Gregorio. That's basically it. However, like you said, wasting part of the money right now on that, like, you're gonna need to do it anyway, and maybe Di Gregorio is not available, but you need to find some sort of agreement with Bologna where you can say, okay, Monza, that we're not gonna need to give you the money all now, because that will be a big blow for this club right now, or for us basically. Giuntoli said our budget is Champions League money. Did you say that? He said it's based on if we're getting Champions League yes or not. Basically, that's what he's trying to say. But it's not based on Champions. The budget is not the Champions League money you get. That's not gonna happen. But 55 million sales can do 100 million. 150 million budget has to go to Calafiori, Colt Miners, Zirkzee, Santos. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. Like, the math. It does add up. It sounds good, but it doesn't really work like that. It's more complicated than that. It is. But I do like the list of players, obviously. Colt Miners had a ridiculous assist again today against Marseille. That was top notch. Sales, Gatti and McKennie, 20 million for starters. If you get 50 million for Gatti and for Gatti and McKennie, wow. Absolutely wow. I don't see anyone paying. They will pay slightly above 20 for McKennie, and man, if you get 20 for Gatti, that's insane already. So, uh, yeah, you're being very optimistic. It's just not gonna happen. What happened with Karnaseki was linked with Juve. I don't know. I'm not following goalkeeping links, to be honest, because I'm not focused on that. If we get Di Gregorio and sits on the bench, we're not a better team next season. I want to be a better team next season. So, I'm not really too into um, in the goalkeeper situation. Nico Sierra said we bid for Brescanini in January. Well, good that bid was refused. I'm not a fan. I don't get the quote unquote buzz around Brescanini. I don't rate him that much. So, um, Forrest bid 25 million last season for Gatti. I refuse to believe that story. If 25 million was bid for Gatti and Giuntoli said no, or anyone at the club said no, they should be arrested. I refuse to believe somebody bid 25 and the club said no. The budget will probably be just money that we got from sales. Maybe. We get him on loan him back to Monza. This will help the finances. That's not gonna happen because the story was we're gonna sell Perin this summer. If you get Di Gregorio, we're gonna sell Perin this summer as well. So you're gonna need to keep him, because you need a backup. And Pinsoglio, well, he's not a football player. I'm sorry, he's just there for vibes. So it sounds good on paper, but it's actually not really gonna happen like that. It's just not gonna happen. So we need to even see how that's gonna pan out. But yeah, people. I was planning to do a 20-minute live, but a lot of people are watching. I'm sorry, but I'm too tired to go for another 30 minutes. I will be back hopefully tomorrow or Sunday as well. We play Roma, so we'll talk about the game more so tomorrow because Roma just lost against Leverkusen. I only watched the second half, which was okay. Leverkusen are just a better team. They're one of the best in Europe right now. So it is what it is. Don't get fooled by the result or the game. They will be up for it on Sunday. And also, we're not good. So we will make sure they will have a shot, as always. But people, thanks for joining. Like the video on your way out. If you're rewatching it, like the video as well. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I will speak to you guys tomorrow, most likely.